jotted down a little list of things that minstrels are supposed to know how to do that I thought I'd share with you, that I found out from a 13th century source. So wandering minstrels like me, not only were we supposed to be able to play every single kind of instrument that there is, I should also learn how to imitate birds, tell the story of Troy, train donkeys, balance apples on knives, and work marionettes. So for next year, I'm going to have all those things ready for a show. But what I have for you is something close to the story of Troy. I have a story that I want to share with you, which is a real history mystery. It is an unsolved mystery from history. In a way, it might segue nicely into Granny Brew here. So let's see. I have just a perfect amount of time left. Okay. So this is the strange story hailing from the town of Woolpit in England. It involves some very strange children. So there's a town in England called Woolpit. True story. And it is called that not because it has anything to do with wool, but because they had dug these pits to trap wolves, which were eating all of their livestock. And because people are lazy, instead of calling the town Wolf Pit, they called it Woolpit. So, ooh, hey, water. Thank you. So, once upon a time, there were some farmers working on the outskirts of Woolpit, and they heard a strange sound coming from near one of the wolf pits. Perhaps we've caught a wolf after all these years. We haven't seen them around in a while. I wonder what's there. So they crept up and they parted the bushes, and there by the pits they saw not a wolf, but two little children, a little girl and an even younger boy. What amazed the farmers at first is that there were children there in the middle of the fields at all. What amazed them more was that their eyes were arrestingly green. What amazed them even more was that their clothing, well, children, was something that farmers had never seen before. Nobody in town dressed like that. They had never seen anybody in such raiments. But what amazed them the most and made them shrink back a bit was that the children's skin was green. Both children, head to toe, were green. Now the farmers weren't really sure what to make of this. They had heard stories of the fairy folk playing tricks, and they weren't really sure if these children were put there as a trick or not. But they looked at these poor little kids, and the children were squinting at the sun, and they were crying, and they looked so hungry and lost. The farmers decided that they wouldn't decide, and that they would let the lord of the land deal with it. So they took the children to go see Sir Richard in his manor house. And Sir Richard came and saw these green children, and he too thought this might be a trick of the fairy folk, but I suppose the nice thing to do would be to try to help them, because they look so pathetic. So Sir Richard asked the children where they were from. And the girl spoke for them, and she spoke in a language they had never heard before. This made Sir Richard a little more nervous, but still, they looked so hungry, and the boy especially looked like he was so hungry and scared that Sir Richard decided the right thing to do was to try to offer the children some food, even though they were green and strange looking and didn't speak his language. So he had the servants start bringing the children some food. He offered them some bread. And the children recoiled from the bread as if he was trying to serve them bugs. They had never seen bread apparently before, and they thought it was repulsive. But they were still so hungry. So Sir Richard brought out more food. He offered them cheese, he offered them eggs, he offered them meat, he offered them all manners of food, and every single one the children looked horrified at. Finally, in desperation, Sir Richard started sending his servants to the fields to just bring back whatever they could find. They started ripping carrots out of the ground and turnips, and they brought forth this food, and at long last, when the children saw the green beans, their eyes opened wide with excitement, and they seized the beans. And in their excitement, they became confused again, and one of the servants had to show them how to crack open the bean to get to the beans inside. And once they saw those, the children gobbled up the beans. Now, Sir Richard had heard stories told that beans are the food of the dead. This did not really help his excitement about helping these strange fairy dead children, but they were eating the beans like crazy, and they seemed so happy. Well, time went by, and for a long time, all the children would eat were beans. But as time went by, they started to try bread and cheese and other foods, and gradually their skin became less green and less green until they looked very much like everybody else. Now, unfortunately, the little boy did sicken and die within a year. This happens in the Middle Ages, but the girl lived, and her skin became normal, and she did learn English after quite some time. Finally now, they could find out where those children came from and solve the mystery, but what she had to say didn't help solve the mystery after all. She said that she and her brother had come from a place called St. Martin's Land. which lay in a land of twilight. It was as if it were dusk or dawn all the time, and the bright sun never shone directly upon them. She said that she and her brother lived in a land that was across a wide, shining river from the nearest land to them. And that one day they had been out watching their father's sheep, and they had heard bells coming from inside a cave. And they followed the sound of the bells through the cave, and when they came out, there they were in the farmer's fields in Woolpit. Now the mystery lies in the fact that there was no St. Martin's Land anywhere nearby, nor a land of perpetual twilight that anyone knew of, nor a wide shining river, and no cave entrance was ever found near the town of Woolpit. And it remains a mystery to this day. This story was written about by more than one person in the Middle Ages. One of the monks who wrote about it was known for coming up with tall tales, but another monk who wrote about it was known for accurately recording history. So apparently, something happened, but what? A real unsolved mystery from history. And that's the story of the Green Children of Woolpit.